Right then, just going to get the video going. I'm not going to show you my face though today because I've just jumped out of the shower and I'm only, well, I'm dressed, but you know, I'm not camera perfect, so I'm going to angle the camera right down. The reason I'm coming in so early, it has just gone 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday morning. Ta-da! You won't be able to read that, but it says Freddie's Flowers. So between me getting up at 7 o'clock to do some stuff on the computer and 7:30 when I went to the shower, my Freddie's Flowers have arrived. So I would just say that if you want your own Freddie's Flowers delivered, you can get your first box free if you use my discount code. And again, I know that's in reverse, but it's Julie D3596. So let's go. I've already got a bucket of water to one side to put my flowers in. And I know from before that I have to have the bit that says the flowery stuff towards me. Open the box, what have we got? And also on the back of this note, it said that if I left the box out for my next delivery, they'd come and collect it. So I do find it quite difficult when you're getting loads of home deliveries now that you've got loads of boxes, you know, from Amazon and whoever. So it looks like I've got more colourful flowers than I had last time. I had whites last time. So it says Colour Me Happy, oranges, or it doesn't say oranges at all, it says roses, orange, cherry and pale pink, Tara Gold Solidago, Trachelium and Pistache, which is the greenery. And it gives me some secrets to long-lasting flowers, and it gives me some ideas on how to style this week's bunch. So all I'm going to do at the moment is take my flowers out of the box and put them in water. If you saw my opening video from a few weeks ago, you'll remember that I didn't realise my flowers had been delivered and they were out of water for 24 hours. So that's why I'm super keen to get on here really fast and get them in water, and then I can arrange them over the weekend. So lovely brown string tying in, and actually this brown string threads through the back of the box, and that's what stops the flowers falling around. And then there's some brown paper inside, some scrunched up tissue just to prevent the flowers from bouncing onto the edges and getting damaged. And the flowers have been laid out as you'd find them from a wholesaler. You've got the head, half of the heads are going this way and the other half are going that way, so they're sort of nestled in together, the stems are interlocking. So first of all, I've got 2 stems of Trachelium, which is a lovely flower. It also comes in a white, and I think it's a green as well. It looks very sort of moss-like, but that looks really great. And so that's the natural colour. It hasn't been dyed or anything like that. So recut the stems at an angle into the bucket. And the Solidago, I've got 1, 2, 3 Solidago. So that's really lovely and bushy, a great filler flower. And if you're doing tiny arrangements, you can put off the individual fronds and add them in. So turn those around and recut the stems. 2, 3, get those in water. So I'm only taking off that much, so a couple of centimetres, and doing it at the angle so that the flowers stand on tiptoes in my vase. And then the roses, the orange roses, 2 of the orange roses, so they look like sort of tequila sunrise, you know, with when you put your grenadine into your orange juice. Lovely long fresh stems, great leaves, and one chunky one and one slimmer one. So recut the stems there. That's 2 roses, and then I've got 2 red roses, small and a large there in terms of the head size. Turn them around, recut the stems, and then 2 of the pinky ones. Oh, these look like raspberry ripple ice cream, which is my favourite ice cream in the whole world. So recut the stems there. So that's 6 roses, 2 Trachelium, 3 Solidago, and then the Pistache, which is the greenery. And this, if you buy supermarket flowers regularly, is quite often what you'll find in your supermarket bunch. I was wondering if it had a scent to it, but I don't think it does. But it's got a really lovely sort of bouncy texture. Texture can be a bounce. And these are woody stems, so quite possibly my scissors might not go through, and I would say if you're using kitchen scissors to cut your stems, you might have difficulty, and I would advise that you use a pair of secateurs. So that's in there. And then I've got 2 packets of flower feed, and I shall use that straight away. So snip the top off and pour that into the bucket. So there we go. Flowers safely delivered and put in water, and they will be ready for me to arrange at my leisure at some point later on today. Hi there, it's Julie. I'm just going to put my lights on. I've got my Freddie's flowers, which have been in water since yesterday morning, so I've just had them in a bucket for 24 hours. I've not had a chance to arrange them yet. So we've got the greenery, which is the pistache on quite woody stems, the solidago, really bright colour, and then purple trachelium, nice bushy stems, and then my 6 roses, the 2 red, the 2 orange, and the 2 which look like raspberry ripple ice cream. So what I'm going to do is, having learnt from experience with Freddie's flowers, that if I was going to arrange the flowers for myself at home using flowers that I'd bought, I would always make sure I had quite a quantity of stems to fill my vase. So for instance, if I had a vase like this with quite a big opening in it, I'd need quite a lot of flowers to fill that up. And when I got my first box of Freddie's flowers, I did add extra greenery in from the garden because I felt it just didn't look very full. So this time I specifically searched for a vase where it's got quite a bulbous bottom, has got quite a narrow opening. So that will help me when I do my arrangements. So I'm just going to adjust the camera angle so you can see what I'm doing. So hopefully now you can got a better view. Actually, it's just going to be a bit wonky of what I'm doing. So my narrow vase here, and what I'm going to start by doing is putting in my greenery first to create some structure. So I've put quite a lot of water in this vase, so up to about here. So I'm going to have to take these bottom leaves off so they're not submerged in the water, and we take those off so they don't rot away. And once you've got greenery under the water, it's what makes your water go brown and a bit smelly and can shorten the life of your flowers. So you can see that these have been in water overnight because the stems here are all wet and the rest of it is dry. So that one's going to be fine, and that one's going to be fine. So you could also have the opportunity of, if you're arranging a shorter vase, to cut down your greenery smaller. So I could cut this one piece down and make it into 2 separate pieces, but I'm not going to do that. But I will recut the stems as I go. So I'm going to put those in the vase. I'm not overthinking it, I'm just putting them in and seeing where they fall. So there's 3 pieces there, so I've effectively created 3 points of a triangle. How can I draw a triangle? So first bit of greenery there, next one there, next one there. So it just looks like a green haze. And then I'm going to come back in with my solidago. And this is quite tall. In fact, it's taller than the greenery in my vase. I can lift that up a bit so you can see a bit better. It's much taller. And I would say that recutting your stems and putting your flowers in like that, I think it looks a bit peculiar. And I would be strongly tempted, instead of having it all sitting up really high, to have these cut a bit shorter so that they nestle in the vase a bit better. So I'm going to say, I'm going to take, 6, 7, 8 centimetres off there and put that back in my vase so it sits a bit lower. So you can see that one there is quite low and these ones out of the screen, and then cut it off about that much, which seemed about right. So I can measure that up or eye that up and put those back in, and it just makes a more compact arrangement. Obviously, if you're arranging your own flowers, you do what you want to do. So there I've just got this haze of green, and because my vase head is very narrow and I filled it with bushy stuff, it's going to hold my roses where I want them to be. So with my roses, I've got 2 of each, and here I've got a bigger rose and a smaller rose. So I'm going to put those into the vase, and I'm going to put the smaller rose up to the top like that, and the bigger rose I'm just going to cut a few centimetres off the bottom so it sits a bit lower. So you can see when you're looking at that, 1 rose, 2 roses. At this point you need to decide what's going to be the front of your vase. So if that's my front of my vase, it's pointless me putting flowers down the back because you won't see it unless you're putting it on a table where you're going to view it from all the way around. So I'm just going to put this up against my wall when I've finished. So I just need to make sure that all the flowers that I've bought are on display. So I do the same thing with my orange roses. So if there's a discernible difference in size, so I would say this is smaller, that's the larger, I'm going to put them in so that the smaller rose is at the top of the vase. And you can see here I'm taking the lower leaves off because I just think I'm going to end up with too many leaves in the vase. So I'm just pinching them off, fresh cut at the bottom, and then have that up high, and then this one cut down a bit lower, just to give a bit of difference in height and just a bit of interest in your flowers. So I didn't want all my flowers just to be vase, green stem, layer of flowers at the top. I want to be able to see the flowers through the bits of greenery, and you can always adjust afterwards. And then with my lovely raspberry ripple rose, and they're about the same size, so I don't need to be particular about where to put them, but because I have gone a bit up and down with the others, I'm just going to randomly take one of them and cut a bit off the end. Which one was the small one? That was the taller one, so that could go at the back. And it gets a bit congested with the stems, so you perhaps need to twist them round, sort of corkscrew them down, because the opening in my vase is really small. Oops, come on. Down you go. Like that. Might hide that one a bit. It looks like I've got a huge hole in the front of the vase. And this one's a bit smaller. And you can see on this rose, the guard petals are more pronounced. So they were the petals there. Often look discoloured or crinkled, and they're to protect the bud as it develops. So pinch those off and pinch off. So I'm just taking 2 off. If you start thinking, oh, I'll try and even my rose up, it never works. And you end up pulling all the petals off, which is great fun. But the flower head will just fall apart. Now I've got 2 of these, trachelium, and it's quite difficult to place flowers in 2s because what you'll end up with is sort of, first of all, if you put them too close together, it's just a huge mass of colour, and you want to sort of see the separation. But sometimes if you put them together like this, it's like you've got 2 eyes in your arrangements, or if you put them up really high, it looks like you've got 2 ears. So here, what I might do is have one right at the front, quite low down, and then one at the back, or through to the middle, just to see a bit of colour, so your eye leaps from one side of the vase to the other. That looks about the right height, so I'll just do a fresh cut on the stem. And then because everything's in water, you decide where you've got it on your table that you don't like the look of it, you can adjust it. So that's my back. So I have got a bit of colour coming through to the back, which gives me a bit of a more of a 3D quality when you look from the side. So that's the front, and then you're sort of travelling through the arrangement, and so you have got the flowers evenly spaced throughout. And as I say, it's quite tricky arranging flowers. So we've got 2 of this, 2 of that, 2 of the other, but it's just about creating something you feel is pleasing. It's going to look nice on your side. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I shall see you another time.